All right, guys, we're back. Now that you enjoyed that lovely video, which I think I even heard AJ's voice in the beginning of it. We'll have to keep an eye out for that. But yeah, man, we're talking FTR matches. FTR has become, I think me and AJ, I can speak. I think I can speak for you. You can correct me if I'm wrong. They're our favorite tag team of the last decade at least.
I think it's because it gives us a feel almost of our childhood of how great of a tag team they are. They make us feel back to those days of Iron and Tully and the Midnight Express and all of those great tag teams that were in that time period. So I think it's a nostalgia thing. I think quite frankly, as Dave Meltzer would say, I think they've become a 10-star tag team. And if you like stars, Joe Seart III, our longtime fan, pointed out, you should actually drop some stars on us on all major platforms and let us know how you feel.
Or Facebook. I think they're only available on Facebook, but that's all right. Yeah, drop them there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're great. AJ, I know sometimes you have to watch Dynamite in a vacuum because of your schedule. Did you get to see the Dax Harwood promo this week? If not, I'll clue you in. But
no, I did. And I thought the promo was fantastic. It's one of those things where he brought real life in. And anytime you bring real life in, I mean, how much of a bitch do you feel like if you're sitting there and you're complaining about your achy knees or you're complaining about how hard your day was, and then Dax drops on you, oh, this young girl at 5 years old is told she has a hole in her heart. She's got to put the work in or she's basically going to die. Or we're going to have to do this horrible surgery. Right. But the young lady put the work in, did the work, kicked its ass, and now her heart's perfectly fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he concludes that with, so I'm going to fight like an 8-year-old girl and I'm going to whoop your ass. Like, it's so good. Like, I'm almost crying. I'm cheering. And then I'm like, this motherfucker's cool all within a couple minutes. Like,
I think it's great that you're trying to convince people that you were almost crying.
Oh, no, I was tearing. I was in a bread truck by myself. I'm like, you son of a bitch, Dax.
I've got to go into the next store.
I can't. So they're awesome. We're going to talk after we finish this list. We're going to talk a little bit about Ring of Honor and specifically that match. Me and AJ will make some predictions. And let's just get started, though, man. Why don't you kick us off today? See what you got for a list.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got Zach St. John to start off here, so let's pull up Zach. We've got the Brain Busters, which I think is going to come up a lot. By the way, I am keeping tally as always, so don't think we're forgetting to count here. We've got the Midnight Express, and Zach was very clear that it's Eaton and Stan Lane, although he put Lame in Eaton, so I don't know if he was trying to insult Stan Lane, but whatever. That's a great tag team, and I like the fact that he talked about specifically which one he wanted. Strike Force.
That's awesome.
He loves Strike Force, and I don't blame him for wanting to see that. The Steiners.
Yeah.
And then we also got the Hart Foundation. So I think 4 of those are going to come up on a lot of lists. You might see Strike Force more often than we expect to, but great tag teams all around.
I like it. I'm going to start off here too. Tony Rice. I love this list for a couple of reasons. All right. He's from the Mothership Facebook group. He's got the Gorillas of Destiny, High Energy. AJ, you're going to love this next one. PYTs, British Bulldogs, the Blue Bloods. And then I like this. I don't know because Joe sent me this. If he did this, I'm hoping he did this. Tony Rice, who I don't even know. Jake Rule. Owen and Brett. So I like the fact that the Jake Rule is now being listed by other fans.
Well, that's how you know people are paying attention. When you start to have these little rules that we implement for people and they use them, that's awesome.
So the only list you would have to mark out there would be the Bulldogs, if you got it.
You don't think the PYTs, the pretty young things, are going to show up very often?
I don't think so.
Wow.
I'm gonna give another list for you, though, to give you a chance to keep some tallies going here. Mark Frazier from the Mothership Group also wrote Tully and Iron, also known as the Brainbusters. Punk and Danielson. I like the fact he did take 2 big single stars. Starks and Hobbs. The Von Erichs, whether he means today's version or one of the other brothers, that's awesome. And the Acclaim. Yo, listen.
I'm pretty sure we've already seen them versus the Acclaim.
I tried. Well, they did a 6-man.
Yeah.
So, what's up, Randy Osby? I know that was to AJ, but we'll.
What is up, Randy? How are you, my friend?
And AJ, why don't you hit me with a couple of lists here?
I've got Mr. Mike Flynn. He's got the Hart Foundation. He's got the Steiner brothers, Steiner line, Edge and Christian. We've got the British Bulldogs. We've also got the Eliminators.
Oh,
The Eliminators is a good tag team. That's a fun tag team.
Yeah.
I don't think people give as much credit to Cronus and Perry Saturn as they probably should get in that ECW time period, but they were a great tag team.
They certainly were. One of the best. AJ, keep us going with another list here while I share some of these links.
Absolutely. That's so up next, we've got the Brainbusters again. We've got the Steiners again. We've got the Midnight Express, although this time they also were very clear. And by the way, this is Scott from Voluntown. I don't think I said who this is.
Yes.
They were very clear. They put Eaton and Condrey. So both variations of the Midnight Express have actually been recognized here. And then we've got the Hart Foundation, the British Bulldogs, and an honorable mention. He did not pull the Jake rule. He did not actually do it that way. He did an honorable mention for Harlem Heat.
Harlem Heat.
Yeah.
Gotta love that. Yeah, Booker T, Stevie Ray, Sucker. Harlem Heat actually, they were kind of FTR was kind of they were kind of batting around among Facebook and stuff like that and other social media. So interesting. All right. I got Richard Newsham from the Mothership Facebook group. Here's an interesting one. James Drake and Zach Gibson. I like that. Then he's got a name you'll have to write down. The British Bulldogs. Iron and Tully. Another one for you. Mustache Mountain. That one you won't, but that's a good one. I like this guy as a fan of British wrestling. And then finally, Midnight Express, and he also made sure to put down the Bobby and Stan Lane version.
Nice.
All right.
So we'll do some totals real quick just to let us know where we're at. Right now, the Brainbusters are leading the way. They've got 5. You've got the Midnight's Hart Foundation, Bulldogs, and Steiners all tied with 3 in second place. And then so far, the Road Warriors have none.
All right. So what do you bet them down? All right. Brian R. Solomon, author of Blood and Fire, the unbelievable real-life story of the wrestling's original Sheik. He was our guest last week. He gave us a list. And I think you're going to like this one, some of these, AJ. The Minnesota Wrecking Crew. Nicely done. Then a couple names for you to write down. The Midnight Express and the British Bulldogs. And then here's his last two, which I think you're going to love. Bockwinkel and Stevens.
Ooh.
And Terry and Dory Funk.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
I love it. Those would have all been great matches. If you haven't had a chance to check out that interview, it is a great interview. It is very entertaining. It talks about the Sheik, talks about what it's like to write the book. Absolutely fantastic. Please check out last week's interview.
Solomon.
Or if you're Jamaican, Solomon.
All right. I'll give another list while you're doing this, AJ. I got Zach Grant from the Mothership Facebook group. He's got Brett and Owen. Midnight Express. I like this one. Hardys in their prime.
Not today's version.
No. The Dudleys. And here's one for some people. The Gangstas.
So that's the first time the Dudleys have actually popped up, which is a little surprising.
Yeah.
And great to see the reference to the Gangsters.
Absolutely. I almost feel like I should have told you to put the Dudleys down, but I didn't, and they've only come up once so far, so we'll see.
Yeah, I put the Road Warriors down, and they're about to come up on my next list. My next list is actually Randy Osga, and he's got FTR versus Brett and Owen. He's got versus the Rockers. First time the Rockers have showed up. Also, you got the Von Erichs, but he was clear. He put Ross and Marshall He actually knows that there's more than one Von Erich tag team. That's fantastic. We've also got the Road Warriors. And Randy, I love this one versus the current NXT tag team champions, the Creed brothers.
I like that. In fact, I like it so much, I'm going to hit you with another list. Jess Kevin from Reddit has the Motor City Machine Guns.
Good one.
The American Wolves.
Oof.
The Creed brothers. The Kings of Wrestling, which, if I believe is correct, is Cesaro and who's that fat dude?
Samoa Joe?
No. You know his name. He used to say the spinning elbow. He was one of your favorites. Cassius Ohno, but he had another name.
Oh, yeah, but when they teamed up, I don't believe he was fat already. I think he was actually in good shape at that point.
And Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
That's absolutely that's a great list. I like the fact that there's some modern ones on there, some Ring of Honor ones on there. Absolutely fantastic list. I like it. I have another list brought to you by Randy Osga, but it's actually Alex Lorenzo's list.
Hey,
it is,
Chris Hero, by the way, was the.
Oh yeah.
That's
well, you know, he's actually been responsible for training a lot of great wrestlers, Chris Hero, and he's had a lot of great matches in his career. He just didn't do crap once he got to WWE because they didn't know what to do with him. Well, that and he gained 50 pounds. Yeah. So Chris Harris treatment. Alex Lorenzo list. We've got FTR versus Owen and the Bulldog. Evil and Sonata. The Rockers have shown up again. Brett and Owen. And I believe this is the first time I've heard this name. You might remember them. Demolition?
Oh, Demolition. Yeah, I'm surprised. I didn't tell you to put them down, but I guess.
Well, here comes the Axe and here comes the Smasher because they're on this list.
Keep it going, man. Give me another list.
All right, I got to switch over here to my other list for this one. We've got Jamie Hama from the Mothership Facebook group. He's got the Rock and Roll Express. He's got the British Bulldogs. That'll make our list. We've got the Midnight Express, Tire or Tully and Iron. That's and then we've got the Rockers. So just to give you an idea as to where we're at now, the Midnights and the Brainbusters are tied at 6. Bulldogs right behind them with 4. Hart Foundation with 3. Steiners with 3. Hey, Road Warriors, you got one.
Well, guess what? I got Boot Jones from Reddit. He's got the LOD, also known as the Road Warriors.
I was going to say, is that the same team? I don't know. That's not.
He's also got the Dudleys. So
nice.
Owens and Zayn, second one for them.
I like that one too.
We got besties in the world, Danny Vega and Matt Fitchett. You know people have been clamoring for that one.
That's a dream match. That one didn't even need to be said. That's why it hasn't been on everyone's list.
And America's Most Wanted. So.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's do you have one more or you want me to go with another one?
We'll keep doing this 2 and 2. John White from Facebook has Iron and Tully, the New Age Outlaws. Here's one I thought we should have probably mentioned too. APA, Eds and Christian, and the Dudleys for the third vote.
Dudley's sneaking in there. They would now be tied with the Harts and the Steiners if we were keeping track of the Dudleys. Thank God we're not.
Next to them right now.
That's the unofficial tally. We've got the Mothership Facebook group. We've got Blair Krieger, and they've only got 3, so this should be easy. They've got Riddle and Orton. That's an interesting one to see pop up. They've got the Briscoes, which is in an Iron Man match, so I guess that's a dream match. And then we've got Paul Diamond and Pat Tanaka.
That's a great one. Pat Tanaka, former guest.
I assume they mean as the Orient Express.
I think they mean bad company, but I love
it. Till the day we die.
AJ, I like that. I usually have to do the enunciation for things. I want to see if you get this reference. Announce that team for me the best you can.
Deadly Fred and Lamana Numi.
Yamanamanumi.
Yamanamanumi.
They were off the ICP.
I remember when Weeze went chicken hunting.
Yeah, that was the video at the end of that. That's
Yes. So you're not going to get me with that reference. That's all right. I got.
Is it your turn? You got another one?
Yeah, I got one more for you. We've got Sean McIver from the Mothership Facebook group, and they've got the Hart Foundation, which will get marked. That'll put them ahead of the Dudleys, who aren't on the list. We've got Murdoch and Adonis. We've got, that's a great tag team. The Fantastics, who we haven't heard. That's the Miracle Violence Connection. Are you familiar with Miracle Violence Connection?
I mean, if you're talking about Dr. Death, Steve Williams, and whoa, Terry Bam Bam Gordy, thought I'd give you
that. That is a great actual tag team. You're not going to hear as much.
Because you'll appreciate it. I actually watched the other day. Somebody posted a line of Gordy pushing the fan. Always makes me smile.
Always makes my heart swell.
Yeah.
And then they've also got the Bulldogs. So we got to mark the Bulldogs down. So the Bulldogs have now actually tied the Midnight Express and the Brainbusters for first place with 6 each. The Hart Foundation has 4. And then the Steiners have 3. The Road Warriors have 2. And if the Dudleys were on the list, they would also have 3.
Yes. Well, I believe. Oh, no, this is Charlie Hill. I haven't read him yet. He's got a couple good ones. He's got the Steiner brothers. All right. So they're getting some more momentum.
Oh, yeah.
We got Team Angle. That's a good one. Yeah. We got the Brain Busters, Tully and Iron. So they're gaining another vote. Here's a team that makes a lot of sense, actually, we didn't think of. The Shield. All right, you could have took any combination of Shield. That would have been good. And here's another team kind of under the radar, but you think of a successful team also, Miz and Morrison.
Yeah, no, definitely a great team. And by by Team Angle, do they mean the world's greatest tag team?
I think they mean the world's greatest tag team. Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin. I certainly hope so. I'm going to go next. We got another list here. Producer Joe. He's got Iron and Tully, the Second Gear Crew, Matthew Justice and Manch Warner. They're the GCW champs, maybe former tag champs at this point. Midnight Express, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett.
Oh, nice.
And then for 5th one, he's actually got, I guess this would be a dream match you'd like to see. I think it's kind of fun. We can't actually obviously include, but FTR, CM Punk versus the Bloodline.
Oh, wow.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Absolutely.
So the only thing we really got out of that was Iron Tully and the Midnight Express that we have to mark.
Yes, but I thought he was going to go J-Lo and Ben Affleck, but hey, whatever. That's a team you don't want to tangle with.
How many more you got?
The only one I've got left is mine.
Oh, okay. I got one other one and then mine. So let me read this guy too there. Gotcha. Anthony DeSalvatore. He just had a statement, I guess. They'd be really good against any 2 guys from the Hart Foundation. Brett, Anvil, Owen, Yoko, Bulldog, and Pillman. Midnight Express would be awesome, too. Freebirds with Michael Hayes and Gordy. I don't know what you want to include for votes there. Maybe he did say they'd be awesome.
Hart Foundation? Sure.
Oh, Hearts and Midnights. He did mention
that. I am a lot of people forget this, and I'm glad he brought it up. The lost Hart cousin Yokozuna. I think that's important to bring into the picture. I mean, I know the Anvil and the Bulldog I know married in, but when you have that blood, that shared blood between Yoko and the Hart Foundation, it's incredible.
All right, I guess you do your list and I'll do mine here.
So I did have the Bulldogs.
Nice.
I did have the Midnights.
Yes.
I did have the Brainbusters.
Nice.
However, now I've got some other teams. Yeah. I have 2 other teams. I've got Furnace and LaFawn because I think that would have been a hell of a match.
Oh yeah, they don't get here.
I don't think that they get remembered as good as they were because of their WWE run. I think we forget how great they were in Japan and how great of a team they were all together. Mm-hmm. And then just for another dream match, I actually put the Briscoes, but not the Briscoes from Ring of Honor, who now, by the way, are signed to a contract to Ring of Honor again. For breaking news for you. However, the Briscoes, Jerry and Jack, we forget how dominant of a tag team they were for the early 80s, late 70s, all the way until Starcades started happening, and even then they were one of the big things on the first Starcade. So Jerry and Jack are my last one.
I like it. Now, I got the last bit here, so
do you want a total before we?
No. We'll just
we'll surprise everyone.
I don't want to think I'm influencing anybody. So, and by the way, if you're going to have honorable mentions, I think this is the way you should do it, by the way. I'm going to give you 2 honorable mentions first. So we know these don't actually count. They're not actually good.
They do not count like the Dudleys.
I haven't heard a lot of teams mentioned. Someone might have mentioned this, though. The Hollywood Blondes, Pillman and Austin.
Nice. Great team.
And then another team. I'll give you 2 more teams, actually. Steamboat and Douglas and Dustin Rhodes and Barry Windham. All were feuding around that same time period. Great teams from that era. Would have been fun to see.
Any one of those would have been fantastic. That's another good one would have been, and it's a little bit before that. We've talked about Tully and Iron. Believe it or not, in that time period, Flair and Barry were teaming up. That would have been a fun one to see. Flair and Barry versus them.
Before I get, I'll throw 2 more teams just because it's so fucking easy to do this. Iron and Sabisco, Iron and Ethan.
Absolutely. Well, really Iron and anyone.
Iron and anyone. Absolutely.
Except for Brock.
Not Brock Anderson. He's
not Brock. Yeah, not Brock Anderson. Brock Lesnar and Iron. That'd be a fun tag team.
Fucking kill it. All right. So I kick off my list. Iron and Tully. I gotta have them on there. The Brainbusters make my list as far as I'm concerned. The Steiner brothers. When you're talking about chemistry, one of the reasons why I didn't end up putting the Midnight Express on here. I know they would probably.
You didn't?
I didn't.
Wow.
List.
Not even in your honorable mentions, which you had like 12 of them.
They're in my honorable mentions. I started thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what? It's very similar. I'd like to see teams where FTR is going to be bumping their ass off a little bit. The Steiners.
Well, they would definitely be doing that against the Steiners.
It would be, whether they wanted to or not. So here's another team for you to mark: the Bulldogs. So the Bulldogs and the Steiners are my 2 teams you got to mark down. And then, just for fun, and a couple other teams, Demolition, which I know you've heard a little bit, and the Rockers, Marty and Sean, because Marty and Sean would have been an amazing team.
We ended up hearing the Rockers about 4 times, so they definitely got their names mentioned. Demolition only like twice. Yeah. So, yeah.
All right. What do we got for votes? And then we'll discuss.
Well, the Brainbusters ended up winning. They got 10 because Dave did not like the Midnight Express. So they only got 9. Yeah. The Steiners and the Hart Foundation are actually tied for 4th place with 5 because 3rd place is the Bulldogs with 8. The Road Warriors only got 2.
Wow. All right, so the Bulldogs got 3rd.
The Bulldogs got 3rd. Yeah, they got 8. So you've got literally 10, 9, and 8 with the Brainbusters, Midnights, and the Bulldogs.
You know what's great? We could argue all 5 of these.
Absolutely. That's for Dream Matches. Absolutely. You know who we didn't hear as much was the Rock and Roll Express.
No,
and I think it's because they've wrestled.
They've wrestled once, and that's why I didn't pick them. And I think maybe that's a few people.
My problem is I would have loved to have seen, and this is just a dream match for me, if you would have put Rock and Roll Express in their prime.
Sure. Like, we talked about earlier with the Hardys in their prime.
Yeah, not to take anything away from the Rock and Roll Express and the fact that they're still somehow working, although Robert Gibson has finally retired. It's not the same.
All right, let's talk about these teams. We got the Bulldogs, the Brainbusters, the Midnights. Before we pick a 3rd one here, if we're arguing these 3, who are the most successful out of these 3 teams?
Well, actually, the most successful out of them is probably the Bulldogs.
I was thinking that because if you talk to me about like wrestling too in the 80s, like who was the most synonymous tag team, like the Bulldogs were on a run.
Well, I think they have the most World Tag Team Championships also.
They have 2, I think. And then
how many times did Midnight win?
They probably had 2 as well, maybe.
And I think the Brainbusters have 2 because I think they won 1 in NWA and 1 in WWE. So they're all 2.
But here's something though for you. Tully and Iron did it in both promotions.
They did.
Yeah.
And that's impressive. They did have a short run in the WWE. I think we forget. We have a tendency of thinking for the Brainbusters a little bit longer than they were there. They were really only there for a year.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's also the end of them. remember, once they're done in WWE, Tully gets into that trouble,
Mhm.
and it ends up being only Iron coming back to
Oh,
WCW.
Midnight has longevity.
Yeah, Midnight has longevity. The Bulldogs do not have as much longevity as we think they do.
Mhm.
They're also only a few years. They did wrestle once they got to WWE, but before that, they actually primarily wrestled as single stars.
You know what's funny is even though I didn't put Midnight Express in my top 5, I'm starting to lean towards them. Like I'm envisioning that match, and because of the teamwork and everything.
So I think that that would be a great match, but I'm actually doing something that you're doing. I'm thinking about the styles, and I'm
Right.
thinking about the continuity of the Bulldogs along with the strength. And I'm thinking what a great match that would be with the strength difference and the.
Yeah. So before we get then, I think what we're both saying is we are eliminating Tully and Iron then.
Oh, we are, and it's
Okay.
not easy to do because obviously we both love Tully and Iron.
They're actually my favorite team out of that. Like I love
Absolutely.
all those teams, but
Oh,
Tully and Iron,
absolutely.
yeah, I have
Yeah,
such
that's the.
for them. Yeah.
Well, we also forget. Here's the other thing, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about the Brainbusters. We also forget they weren't teaming long before they left NWA either.
Right, right, right,
They were
right.
not the tag team. They Iron had just broken up with Ole the year before. They literally only had like a 2-year block where they were a tag team.
And Flair and Barry were doing the tag team for a little
Yeah.
while, and then Flair would team with Luger once in a while. It wasn't until like they really settled down when I want to say Luger had left too. We had Barry and Iron and Tully started like really doing the team.
I think their chemistry is even more impressive when you think about it that way because of how little they actually wrestled together. Although we got to give credit to Stan Lane also because he
Right.
stepped into a tag team where Bobby Eaton is a tag team specialist. He stepped into that tag team, and that could have went very awry because of the chemistry between Eaton and Condrey. But Stan Lane stepped in and it was seamless.
I agree. I think you convinced me to go back what I was thinking. I'm gonna go. We're gonna go Midnight's number 2, unless you changed your mind again, and then
No,
Bulldogs. Yeah.
I agree with you. To me, I just think the matchup of the Bulldogs
Right.
would have been absolutely incredible. I think that because of how good they were,
Mm-hmm.
this is before Davey all of a sudden put on 40 pounds of muscle. He was still muscular,
Right.
but he could move. Both of them could absolutely fly around the ring, and they had that power. Even Tom
Right.
Billingsley, the Dynamite Kid, being the smaller wrestler that he was jacked to the gills and could absolutely still power you around.
They both could have bumped their ass off for each other, and the
Yeah.
difference between them and the Midnight is they could have had that power that we wouldn't get. Like you wouldn't have got a power matchup with Midnight and FTR, but with Bulldogs, they could add that power element into it.
Well, one of the things that made the Bulldogs so fun is that when they went in with bigger tag teams like Demolition and stuff like that, they could match power with them, but they could still bump their ass off for them. So you got both of them.
Absolutely. We won't pay attention to that, AJ, if you saw that. But let's talk about Ring of Honor this Saturday.
You know what? We should go to that.
We're going to that, actually.
Oh,
so
you know what we should do? We should actually bring producer Joe also.
I think he's going to that as well.
What?
So,
we're not going to mention any names, but we are celebrating a birthday that day also. We're not going to mention any names because they stay anonymous, so it's fine. But this is our way of saying happy birthday, even though we don't know who you are.
Loved member of the team. But yeah, so let's talk about it. Let's make some predictions here before we get out of here.
Absolutely. I am so excited about this card, by the way.
We'll say, actually, you know what? No, let's kick it off with FTR Briscoes first. We talked about it. 2 out of 3 falls. Briscoes are signed, but to me, you got FTR holding all these belts for a reason. We're going to eventually see them against the AEW Tag Champs, whether that's Hobbs and Swerve or ends up being another team, but I don't think FTR is going to lose these belts yet. I got FTR.
I don't think they are either. They might be, the Briscoes might be the team that they eventually lose it to, but I don't think it's going to be at this event.
I agree. Women's match, Serena Deeb and Mercedes Martinez. This could go either way, but I think they're going to put it on Deeb. I think Deeb is somebody they want to profile a little more, and I think she gets the big title reign, the big push.
You got to give it up for both of these women. Both of them are longtime vets. Both of them are now around the 20-year mark of wrestling. And you're talking about starting off in a time period where it was a lot of TNA for wrestling and not as much focus on what you need to do as a female wrestler and competitor. So to see the two of them really last as long as they have and to continue to up their game every year, this should be a fun match.
Absolutely. I'm just looking up this card right now to see if we missed anything, but
Well, yeah, there's a few more matches.
I know there's other matches. Like for instance, all right, the pure title, Yuta and Garcia. I love this match. I love Garcia. I like Yuta, but I think Garcia's to me, I'm more of a fan of Garcia. That being said, I don't think we're taking the belt off of Yuta yet because I think we're going to put a little emphasis on the Blackpool Combat Club, maybe holding all the belts for a little while, and we'll get to that prediction a little bit later.
Yeah, I do believe Yuta's going to come out on top in this one, but you talk about a match that you're just excited about as a wrestling fan. It's hard to get, and the title is the pure title. Can you think of another pure wrestler more pure than Daniel Garcia? Although I know he is a sports entertainer.
He is a sports entertainer. All right. So we'll do the last two matches. There's another match that's been added. There's a 6-man match, The Righteousness with Vincent, Bateman, and Dutch versus Dalton Castle and the boys. Willow Nightingale's on the pre-show against Allison Kay. Those should be fun. But let's get to the two main matches here. First off, the World Television title, the match I think has been pushed more than anyone. Samoa Joe versus Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal, man, this guy's going for the Ring of Honor TV title. Next following week, he's going to be teaming with Jeff Jarrett against Ric Flair and Andrade in Flair's last match. I've been watching some of the videos with Jay Lethal for that and the pre-show. Jay is underrated when it comes to a mic guy, too. This guy is good all over. I really like him. I don't think they're putting the belt on him yet.
Well, like Ric Flair said in the road to he's an open guy. It's fine. It's where he's at. It's not an insult. Everybody needs a spot on the card. So I just don't think he's ready for this championship yet. It's fine, Jay. It's fine.
So you're thinking Joe keeps?
I think Joe still goes over. If Jay does go over, it's going to be because he's got two people with him in Sanjay Dutt and whatever the hell that giant's name is.
And then the main event, Jonathan Gresham, Claudio. I got to go with Claudio. I think we're putting the belt on him. It should be an awesome match, but I think at the end of the day, Claudio, they want to make Ring of Honor a bigger brand. I think we're going to have a TV deal for this soon at some point, and you want a bigger star. Hence why I think Samoa Joe, Claudio are going to be your two main champs for a little while.
So I agree with you. I have a feeling Claudio's going over. I will play devil's advocate here and go the other way, not as my prediction, but just to show you how it could go the other way. You have Tully's group there, and if you want to build that group up, because you already have a great tag team in it, you've got Jonathan Gresham in it. We think we have Brian Cage in it. We don't know. Nobody's seen Brian since that first interaction.
I might have been a dark tape in, or remember he was there recently. So
okay, so good. So hopefully, as a group, we have them together. And if they're going to try to build that group up and make them a monster stable in the Ring of Honor, then you could want to hold the belt on Jonathan Gresham just to build that up. However, I think Claudio's actually going over because I agree with you. We need a centerpiece for Ring of Honor to try to get that TV deal, to try to build things up. I think Claudio Castanero and Samoa Joe are those centerpieces, and that's where you build from.
Absolutely. When FTR is the tag champs, like that's a hell of a 3-person champ. Right
well, plus they went out of their way to point out the fact that while Claudio's been considered the great wrestler wherever he's gone, he's never held a world championship, including the Ring of Honor.
Right. I agree. All right, folks. When this gets on audio, you'll see how right or how wrong me and AJ were. Thank you for all bringing your list. Go ahead, AJ.
When it gets to audio, now I know I mentioned the stars earlier for Facebook. When it gets to audio, that actually will be on other platforms. Make sure you give us some stars and a nice review.
Yeah, 5 stars, baby. All right, 7 stars if they let us. 7 stars. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. For Man Called Dave, AJ Strangebrew. We'll see you at the matches.